I was the guest speaker at 180's annual dinner fundraiser, and well, United Way was there, and they approached me about maybe saying and doing something for their campaign, and so I was like, sure, 'cause that sounds super cool.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Could you tell me how you first got involved with 180 and how the program kind of helped you?
Yeah, I was on the run from my probation officer. Couldn't pass a UA, and so I went on the run. And after about a year, I turned myself in, and pretty sure I was going to go to prison. And they offered me drug court, which is a highly intense probation program. And with that, I would have to be housed at the 180. And I was like, yeah, I would love to. I wanted to change at that point. I knew prison wasn't going to change anything. And so I went through the 180 program. I graduated, and now I run their Inspired Suites Enterprise. And I'm graduating drug court November 22nd.
Yay.
So then I'll be off paper. Been on paper since 2014. And then the next graduation after that will hopefully be college. So, yeah.
That's awesome. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, when you first got involved with 180, did you feel like it was going to work, or were you surprised at your own transformation and just the support and resources that is made available through that organization?
Well, I didn't know what to expect from that program. I just knew it was like a faith-based program, and I was just coming into my spirituality, and so I was very open to what they had to offer, and I expected good things because it was such a long program, and the people in that place are just really awesome. So it opened up my mind and my eyes to a lot of things. I had no idea the resources that were out there before I came to 180. Like, I had no idea. And I don't think anybody really does that's out there in that same lifestyle. So I got to say, I'm very thankful that my probation officer revoked my probation, because had he not, I would have never known. I would have never found out, So everything happens for a reason, and it's just a process. And sometimes it seems ugly and scary, but it actually comes out pretty awesome.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the first time that you heard the song that they wrote for you and your reaction, given where you've been and where you're going?
It made me very emotional, because you can tell somebody your story and they can hear it, but when you hear her music, you can feel it. And it's a lot more personal. I know.
Yeah, you've already
my
made me cry
mom's
like
a
twice.
singer-songwriter too, so music has been in my family forever. So I thought it was very special for me, and I just think it helps other people embrace that story better.
Can you guys talk a little bit about what the process was like for you in writing the song? Did you sit down with Rhiannon and then hear her story?
Yeah, I
Mo
did.
did.
I started, I met, just scheduling until we met here at the Redstone Room, and you told me your story, and I took a bunch of notes, and I was kind of nervous. I was like, I gotta portray this story. I want the song to be really good. I got a deadline, and then I kind of involved Amy from the get-go, because we've co-wrote a lot of songs together, and we just write really well, and I'm really good at starting a song, and Amy's really good at finishing the song. So I started it. I was like, kind of had a document going with just a bunch of from my notes, and just kind of started trying to figure out some lyric lines, and then I don't know if I played it for you or recorded it and sent.
You told me. So she told me about it early on. She was like, "United Way asked me to do this thing, and I'm probably gonna eventually need your help because we've collaborated a lot before. So for Mo and Co, we've written, I don't know, 5 or 6 songs together, and that's a lot of times what does happen is Mo will start the song, and she has a melody, and then she has an idea of what she wants to do, and I love lyrics. So, and I love words. I'm an English teacher, so I love words. I love language, and I love stories. So, Mo was it's kind of funny, because I was thinking today, I was listening through the songs, and I was thinking about that term amplify, and like how this process started with Rhiannon, and then it went to Mo, and then Mo told, like, she comes to me with this notebook, she has notes about you and about your story and like what she wants to kind of try to convey. And so then I'm like working with that narrative too. Like before I had even met Rhiannon, I didn't meet her until we revealed the song. And I was very pregnant and very emotional, so she made me cry a lot.
I cried too. It's her fault.
So like I kind of like came to the story through Mo after Rhiannon had told Mo about her life story. And then so we worked through a lot of the lyrics.
It came together really fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to, but we finished the song, and then we brought our band into our violinist and drummer into the project, and we rehearsed it one time before we recorded it. Like, we had one rehearsal, ran through it a few times, and the next thing you know, we're recording in the studio. Which, that doesn't usually happen that fast, but it all came together.
It was sort of magical.
Yes, it was. Like, how well it came together. Our violin just picked up a melody, and like, oh my God.
I really liked that part.
The violin you hear in the beginning, we were just talking about that the other night.
She just came out swinging with that one, so I was just amazed how well the song just molded together and how we just quickly gelled. So, it was
I
great.
got goosebumps.
And then we went to the studio, recorded it, and here we are.
The lyrics, what about the lyrics first really hit you? Were there certain parts of the song that...
The part where she says it wasn't a school where I hit the books, but when I did, the ground beneath me shook. Like, because that's so true. Like, school is not my thing, and I dropped out, didn't understand anything, and like, but now that I have started school, I feel like I have so much more confidence in myself and in my future, and like, I'm like, I can do this, and my whole life, I'm like, I don't know how to live life on life's terms. Like, I don't know how to be a productive, successful, sober civilian, so it was just a lot of it, when she said, roll the dice just to break through. I'm like, yeah, amen to that, because that's how it was, like just trying things, like trying new things that I didn't know, and like that was what 180 was. Like, I had no idea how to be that person that you hear in treatment, that how they tell you to live when you're in treatment. Like, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know what that means, so it was just, from what I told her in the lyrics that she wrote, it was like, wow, she got that from my story. Like, that was super cool,
Well, that was Amy, though.
But you had these ideas that you knew she was trying to tell you, and then you were sort of expressing those to me. Like, we talked through like certain things that we, like messages that we did and didn't want to convey.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't want to convey that like a person in your situation is expected to get out themselves and it's their fault if they don't. Like, in some ways, like it's this sort of like happenstance sort of blessing that, that you have this opportunity, and people who are in your kind of situation where you're handed, a rough deck, right? Like, they should have more help and more support. And so we talked a lot about that when we were kind of working through the ideas of like what we wanted the lyrics to convey. And we were really careful to not ever like place the person who might be in that situation like at fault for not finding a way out, because it can be extremely, extremely difficult to do that. And society doesn't set you up for help. And so that's why like organizations like this are really important.
Absolutely.
Because, there's a lack of support elsewhere.
And that's why it's important that you keep telling your story, encouraging other people, that there is a way out.
Well, that was really cool. I wanted to share that today too, which was that like, and it's not something that you include or don't include, but so after, so I was, on maternity leave, and so I kind of like was missing a lot of things that were happening on campus or whatever. But one of my coworkers sent me a message, and she was like, I heard the song that you guys wrote for United Way, and she's like, and I just wanted to say that it really moved me. And she used the song to open up a presentation in which she was talking about her journey, which was called, I think, From Welfare to Work. And so I thought that was really awesome, that
that is really
your
awesome.
story then is moving like outward to other people who, feel like they identify with your story. And that's why stories are so powerful. Like when we share them, then we can connect and we can feel inspired by them and we can feel moved by them and we can feel like, you
Yeah.
know, like there's hope, you know, because often we feel like there's not.
Yeah. I think that this whole project was just a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I know when I was at the event, I was just blown away. by
Yeah,
it.
they really, this was a fantastic campaign and it was very moving. But, and then kind of how I got roped into it from the get-go was through RME, but I also know Renee Gellerman personally, and she's always been a fan of my music. So when she first came up with this concept, she immediately was like, thought of me, which was very flattering, and I was very thankful because I was like, yes. And when she told me this, I was like, this is a really ambitious campaign. I mean, you got to get songwriters to write a song in 3 weeks essentially and record it. I mean, yeah, first we met in early July. We had to have it done. We met in the first week of August. I mean, we had a little less than a month to like get the song done. So there was a lot of pressure, but luckily I had some time to focus on it, which was really great. And I know you were on a deadline too, because
We kept talking about whether or not I was going to make it to perform at the actual like United Way event, and I really, really wanted to.
Yeah.
And if my baby had come on time, I might have been
yeah,
able to.
you probably.
But
He was like, I can do one song. I
Yeah.
can do one song.
he arrived on September 4th, so
No.
that was not going to happen.
No.
It was the day before
Yeah.
the event, right?
Yeah.
I know,
I
I-
wasn't going to make it out.
And I was so sad. We had to like get a sub for Amy on the keys, and I was like, finally, I was like, girl, I'm like, the baby's still not here. This event's next week.
Yeah, I was
gotta
like,
call
all right, fine. Because I was
reinforcements.
really like holding off. I was like, well, if I have the baby right now, I think I could get out for like a
Yeah.
couple hours next week.
I
You
can
know,
do
could
one
that.
song. It's just one song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we really wanted her there. When I said I gave her a big shout out,
Yes.
of course.
Rhiannon, have you shared the music? Have other people who are in the program or maybe just starting
Oh yeah,
treatment
oh yeah.
heard
All
it
the
and-
girls have heard it and they really liked it. Because a lot of people that are in that have been in my position. So a lot of people can relate to that song, you know. I think it would be easier for some people to be able to hear it if it was on like YouTube.
Oh, is it because it's through the
Yeah.
Spotify.
If
No,
you-
it's not on Spotify.
SoundCloud,
It's
yeah.
just SoundCloud.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, there's a lot of drug activity in the Quad Cities, and if some of those people could hear that song, even like on the radio, would be super cool.
I mean, I bet we could probably. I mean, I'm surprised
know.
the local stations wouldn't play it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be, then a lot of the people that are in that position would probably hear that song and to know if it was about a local girl, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would just be, they would be like, yeah, you know, that's right. That's, you know, like walking through the labyrinth, like that's like trying to find your way. You know, I would have never found my way had I not, you know, the courts being linked to these organizations is how I found that, you know. So a lot of the drug addicts out here like are scared to be found out. They're scared of
Right.
what the law is going to do about it because they're paranoid. That's just part of the nature.
Yeah.
But I think if they could find that, and they're just scared to come out of that. You're like on a merry-go-round that's going really fast that you can't come off of unless you jump. Like that takes like it's a huge step to jump off of that and to try and change. And like if once you get put into a place that you know is going to help you, but you got to want the help, which is really hard too, because your mindset isn't there.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, like for me, I had to get locked up. I had to get locked up, clear my mind, and then cling to some hope that things were going to change, that it wasn't going to get worse, that it was going to get better. And it did. You know, like I had to just surrender myself. Like, okay, I'm in your hands. You guys do what you will, but I'm hoping that I get to go somewhere that's going to help me change, not somewhere that's just like a punishment. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like when people are offered help before they're, you know, put in jail or prison, like that's where the change comes in. Putting people in prison, that's just like a
Right.
timeout, where they're going to learn more things than they knew before they went in there. And people, when they get out, more connections. But if you get put into a place like 180 or whatever, you know, where you are meeting like good, healthy connections, you know, when you have people encouraging you, like that's what matters. That's where the change comes. It's not going to come any other way. I mean, I know somebody that has actually done it without spirituality, without, you know, all that. Like, that's really hard. Not very successful.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful that people really care about me. You know, they care about helping people like me. We're just not like the rejects of society. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
Did you think about that? Like just hearing you talk about that, I kind of reflect back what it must have been like when you heard her story. Was that kind of in your head when you wrote, or either of you wrote the lyrics about? The part I really liked was the words are, you know, I got everything handed upside down, and I turned it around. And it sounds like that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because when we obviously we wanted to touch on your past, but we didn't. The song needed to be obviously an inspiration beyond. You know, you wanted to just touch
Listen
on.
to her.
I
Absolutely.
know.
Like I mean, she's you're like you're like flooring me. The
Yeah,
way that
I am.
You're like articulating all of this. I mean, it's just beautiful, and yeah, I don't know. It's making me very emotional.
But, and I remember one thing what you said was that you like if you didn't go through what you did, like go and you said that you needed to have that process to make that change, and that's kind of the lyric that Amy kind of took with I went through the labyrinth. To reach the garden. That's kind of like that theme of like you have to go through this awfulness maze or whatever. Like you described it way better than me, and obviously you went through it. I'm just trying to convey it, but that's kind of touching on those lyrics of.
But it was also like Mo was like talking about the 180 program and explaining to me what 180 is, because I didn't know anything about that program either. And even when you're talking about the connection between the organization and the courts, I don't know. It's not something I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's great to know that that exists.
Yeah.
But so she was telling me what the program was, and so we wanted to capture that idea of turning something around.
Yeah.
And so when that just kind of clicked, that like starting with everything upside down, right? Because again, like the cards are stacked against you. You're starting from this place where the things that are being handed to you make it so difficult for you to get out. And like you're suggesting, right? Society sees like the addict is someone who should be punished. And that's again why we wanted to like focus on, sorry, I don't want to get too political with it, but like, you know, why we wanted to focus on the fact that like, you know, it's fortunate that you got out, and there's so many people who could get out if they had more help, if people saw that as something that needed, you know, like support rather than punishment. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's
Absolutely.
that's, you know, the sad sort of underlying piece of it is that, you know, so many people don't get out because society sees it that way, and because people are afraid of punishment, and so they're fearful rather than hopeful. You know.
Yep.
I think a lot of people too might not even realize that United Way helps fund
Right.
organizations.
Yep. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
And 180
I
is
had no
not
idea.
far from here, right?
No, it's
No, it's on
downtown.
6th and Marquette.
6
Yeah.
in Marquette. And now, I know you told me when you went in there, but what year was that again that you started?
It was May 10th, 2018, and I graduated on August 10th, 2019.
A year is really not a long time in the grand scheme of things. So to have your life completely turn around that amount of time is pretty.
It seemed at the beginning like it was going to be a long time,
Yeah.
but like that woman's house, like I don't live there anymore. I live in their stability housing, but like that's still my home.
Yeah.
And like those girls are like my sisters, and 180 is like my family. Like it is my other family because they took me in and they raised me up.
Now, that you're through the program and you're a voice for United Way, what are your hopes and dreams moving forward?
I want to run my own business. I don't really know yet I wanted to run my own restaurant, but I don't know. The door could be open to so many different things. That's just something that will come when it's time. I'm just gonna get through school right now, and just see where the wind blows me after that. You know, I'm sure an opportunity or something will, you know, they have been presenting themselves to me. I haven't had to chase too much, so
Yeah.
that's actually a relief. That's just part of like letting go, and just taking
Yeah.
life as it comes at you. But yeah, this sober thing is not easy, because right now I'm at like a really vulnerable point. I'm not in the 180 bubble anymore. I'm out here by myself. I've had like a good amount of sober time, but anything could happen, you know, anything could trigger me or tempt me because I'm alone so much. But to be mindful of that. And that's why when I'm doing this research paper for school on recovery, it's so ironic because I'm learning relapse prevention and what ways I can prevent relapse, you know, and it's like super ironic that I'm doing this research paper on this because not only is it helping me with school, but it's actually helping me on the inside. Like I am learning. It's just so weird. It's just super cool. It's super, super cool. So,
It's the best way to be in school.
Yeah.
yeah, when it's actually doing
It
something
is.
for you.
Yeah. Self-help.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit more about, did you just start classes in this semester?
Yeah.
Was this your first semester
Uh-huh.
at the urban campus? And what has your experience at Scott Community College been like so
It's
far?
actually really cool. It's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. My classmates are super chill, super cool. My professor is pretty laid back. He's a little goofy, but he's cool. He's cool. I don't know. It's been really cool. I feel confident. It's nice to know, like I had to figure this out, that they want to help me. Like they want to see me succeed. So, and I want me to succeed. So like, I'm not afraid to ask for help. Like I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I felt stupid. And I didn't want to ask for help. So I just didn't. I just like let it stack up. So, but like I've been through so much in my life that now I'm not afraid to ask for any help because I know people want to help. That's the whole thing. It's not a burden.
Yeah.
It's something people want to do. So
That's true.
that's a relief also. That gives me so much hope and confidence in my life because I know that if I start struggling, there's somebody out there I can reach out to that will help me, that wants to help me. So I'm not scared anymore.
That's great. We love to hear that because there are a lot of resources and people out there.
And there are a lot of people who are afraid to ask for help too.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And a
Yeah,
lot of
a lot
people
of
don't know how to do it, or they feel like it's a burden to somebody else, and that is a real struggle. I mean, so hearing that is really nice.
So if this is possible, I'm going to make sure it happens. So like truly, like this might sound cliche, but where there is a will, there's a way. But before there's a way, there has to be a will. So since I want this, I'm going to pick every crevice of any way I can make sure that this
yeah,
happens
girl.
for me. If I start to stumble somewhere, I will figure out where the helpline is, where my lifeline is,
Yeah.
because it's not over. It's not over if I have a bad day. It's not over if I'm afraid. That's just my own head. So, I mean, I've learned a lot, on how to overcome fear and, how a lot of that's in your mind, and you just gotta be, victorious over that, so it's all very cool.
You're inspiring me today.
I know.